working. Good morning. November the 11th. It's Tuesday, but not just Tuesday. It's also Veterans Day. So a thank you and salute to all of the veterans out there watching and currently active and serving members of the United States military. This day is all about you, sort of. Isn't it funny? Thinking about Veterans Day this morning. Uh, it's kind of funny because it's one of those tropes that, at one point it was so a part and ingrained inside of the way our water cooler society, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but our water cooler society worked. It's like, and again, we're going back decade by decade by decade as we saw things change. But I know we live here in the 72601 region, right? We live in an area that, especially with Branson, Missouri, right to the north, that the appreciation shown towards veterans isn't all your thing. So, but I'm curious when it comes to like other places around the nation. The other thing I was thinking about, like, I put together an offer that I'll share with you. I've already shared like on my Facebook page, but that I'll put in the comments here. But as far as involving one of the most patriotic looking action figure toys I've ever seen, it's highly detailed and it's awesome. And it's already vintage, came out in 2002. But Uncle Sam, again, and all that Uncle Sam represents, you know, that type of patriotism really, 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 really was pretty hot back, especially in the 50s after World War II, right? So much so that I do remember where, like, in like my older generation's homes always had a picture of the president, regardless of who it was. We don't do that anymore. But I understand the divide and everyone, we're all narcissists and that we're the only ones who are right. And everyone else is just evil and bad. Maybe we are, I don't know. But I do know that it's kind of funny how that's changed so much in my lifetime. So I don't know. But either way it goes, today is Veterans Day. And again, salute to all those who have served and are serving and will serve, because it's still, for the sake of country, it's still a very noble profession to get into, and do the right thing for God and country, right? Right. If you don't like that, then you don't want to go any further on this morning show. It is Topless Tuesday as well, as you note. Let the hat hang on the rack for a little while. But I hope everyone is having it's a good chilly day. Kind of cold actually, but you know what? I like it because by the end of the week it's going to be spring again. Late spring. Kind of toasty, but I don't know. Speaking of which, let's do a quick rundown of the headlines and see what's happening out there around the region. If you'll notice, over at here, I'll do it like this first. You'll notice first that at 72601life.com, been a couple changes, getting it cleaned up and pretty. And these people right here, can you see my cursor? Here, let's do it like this. There. Now, these folks right here are the ones who have been with me for a very long time, and I appreciate every single one of them. And forever and for more, they will always get special shout outs just because. But looking at the forecast between Harrison and Branson, I like to put up both because it could be a little different in between the two. But overall, it's looking to be very nice. Sunny and breezy, highs, lower 60s. Tonight, 41, mostly clear. And then tomorrow, look at that, a high near 69. So we're going to start moving into that spring trend. We love spring, right? So we'll have a little bit more of it this week, but then we'll see. But it's always best, keep an eye, plug in, follow, do all the stuff you need to do to keep in touch with my good pal Brandon Rulli over at Storm Track 360, because things change. And with weather pattern like this, from what I understand this weekend, looks like it very well could get dicey. Now let's take a look at some of the headlines from around the region. Let's see, in Harrison, this is cool because, again, I'm using the robot to help me build out um, aggregating the headlines as best as possible. And with the hope, as we wake up of a morning, we can all get together to take a look and get an idea of what's happened and what's happening later this week. Now, of course, from the Harrison Daily Times, they're talking about how the FAA is doing the flight cuts and this, that, the other, because the government is still technically shut down, even though there's allegedly technically a agreement of some. We'll find out, but we'll talk about more of that in a minute. Anyway, this is the big one right here, Our Town at the Lyric. It's happening Friday and through Sunday, the 14th through the 23rd. So that's going to be cool. Now, that's not like running the whole time, right? Am I right? Let's double check that. Hey, looky there. Uh, the November 14th to 16th, so this weekend, and then next week again, the 21, 23rd. So just to clarify, and there's that. And then also, the Elks Lodge is going to be hosting a prime rib dinner on November the 15th. And then Veterans Day activities are happening today. I'm curious what's all going on. Let's see, what can we find out here? Oh, this should be happening right now. See, I didn't get out though, but God bless you for doing it. And it's chilly. So when I get off the air, the Veterans Day program, and that's pretty cool. 11 o'clock, Camp Jack's Veterans Day celebration over on Pine Street. And then the fifth annual Veterans Day Parade tonight at 6 o'clock, staging at 5:30 at the Creekside Community Center. There you go. So now you know. Of course, you can follow along with all this at 72601life.com. Up in Branson, Veterans 24/7, 365. But there's a lot going on over there. Silver City's getting their old time Christmas rolling. And the Polar Express, train ride is kicking off on the 13th. Okay. Well, it's actually Silver the old time Christmas also kicks off on the 13th. And that'll be fun. Candlelight concert at the Crescent on Saturday, the 15th, at the Eureka Comedy House. I need to get out there. I have not been there. I want to check that out. So the Eureka Springs, that links out to the Eureka Springs Chamber of Commerce's website. So you can stay in the know as best as possible. So that's fun. What else we got here? Okay, go to the website and you can check it out all for yourself. It'll be a good thing for you to do. Stay in the know, man. Informed community is a connected community. I'm a firm believer in that, and hence why I rolled out once again the virtual stump for this coming election season, and it's great. My response from some of the candidates has been very, very positive, and we're going to start collecting those. It's three questions. I mean, really, it's number one, who are they? What are they running for? And why should we vote for them? Just that simple. And it's collected up on the 72601life.com website because I'm only focusing on Boone County because it's where I've got the most skin in the game, right? I live here. So there you go. It's what I can do for my community, but I hope to possibly encourage other counties to do the same because it all starts with us, right? Right. Because it's what matters most. Because again, talking about the day 42 of the government shutdown, if it's still a thing, I haven't even looked, to be honest with you, because it hit me this morning. Is this government shutdown truly a government shutdown? That's the words, right? Words matter. Or has this really been a strike? Because if you think about like employment strikes, when the workers are no longer happy with what the company is doing and they've unified and they're in a union and they say, no, not until you make some changes. See, I think words matter. And considering all things and all people that are involved, because people are being impacted now. They're seeing it, they're feeling it. And, I'm going to say something that it struck me last night. And I didn't really think, again, it's the real world stuff. When you see it, you're like, wait a minute. I had to run out to Dollar General, doesn't matter which one, right? They're everywhere. But no, seriously, the one just right down from the house. And I was picking up some dog food, some cat food, and I was looking for something that I probably shouldn't eat because of the type 2. So I read labels. I do. But I noticed that like the freezer section and the refrigerator section was full. I mean, full, full, very, very full. And not saying that those folks don't do their job in stocking things, but I mean, it was like really, really super full. I've never seen it so full. And that just makes me question and wonder if that is not in direct relation to the cutting off of the SNAP benefits. Um, and if that's the case, it's kind of a shame because normally the way that looks, a lot of more people are taking things home that they're not doing right now. So again, government shutdown, government strike. Words matter. Hmm. I'm just saying, a little food for thought there. Also, why local elections are so important. Now, while on the local level, when it comes to things like the SNAP benefits and things, not much say. Not really. It's federal, so they do what they do. Should go through the state house, and the states are holding the bag on all this. So this government strike, as I'll refer to it from now and forevermore, somebody needs to really and truly cross the picket lines, and it seems that some are, which is good. It ain't about party politics. It's about do your job. It's a representative government. Jesus, quit stomping your feet. It's dumb. Going back into more federal stuff, because now I'd seen over the weekend, I think it was Sunday, when President Trump had announced the $2,000 dividend payment. Okay, words again, they matter. So this money's $2,000 dividend payment from the tariffs that's been imposed on foreign nations, which has a big ripple effect all the way across all sectors of the economy. And like there's goods, there's bads, there's highs, there's lows, and all this. But I got to thinking where the talking heads and talking points are, two questions that I'm not saying direct answers on. So I'm gonna try to do some digging on and report them back to you like a journalist should. Um, one, when and how is it going to happen? Right? Because I don't know. Everybody's talking about it, but when? I haven't seen a when. So I'll start digging on that. The second one, and this is important because as we've seen in the past, when it comes to like stimulus money, which this is not stimulus money, this is dividend payments, which in that definition leads to different questions as far as what you and I have to do when it comes to taxes. Do we have to pay taxes on the dividend payments if and when they happen? I don't know. So I'm going to dive into that question because I am curious. I truly am. And I'd love to see what you think. So, with that said, let's slide over here. And because I'm still working out the chat feature inside of the broadcast software, it's not quite there yet. Let's see. Where are they showing me live? Where are you at? The Facebook? Nope, not that. Nope, not that. Let's come back over here. We're going to figure this out together, kids. Let's see. This is me. You don't need to see that. You're already seeing it, right? Let's go back over here. Yep. Let's see. I tell you what, it's so funny, man, because like way back in what was it, 17, when I was doing a lot of stuff on the Facebook and all that and putting it out, and we had a wonderful time. We truly did. Um, things have changed so much on the workings of this platform. Drives me nuts. Because it's like everything that once was where it was is moved and broken. I don't see the stream. Hmm, that is so stupid. Oh, thank you, Facebook. Let me pull it up on my phone. Mainly because I want to talk to you guys. We're talking here. We need that in our lives. We need more conversations. Again, it's all about organic creativity and connection in the age of AI and social media. Where's that on my phone now? Da, 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 da. See, I'm getting update on my phone when I just opened it up. I'm getting updates from like I don't know forever ago. What in the absolute? There it is. See, that's ridiculous. I'll pin it, and then that way I can come back over here allegedly, since everything is all connected and they watch us from all corners. There it is. We get down here into the comments. Where'd they go? There we go. Grassland, good morning. And again, it's one of those things. It's like, it's not a government shutdown. It's a government strike. Words matter. I'm going to say that. But you know what? We all have to continue to get up and do what we do and how we do and what we have to do to keep paying rent to be on the planet and making sure that all the things we're supposed to do to keep this thing running that we don't get to get on strike from, but maybe we should. We still got to do. And that's just how it is. So as such, I know again the pitch as like I'm offering services again as far as like in doing content creation for folks. Prefer to teach it because I'm a firm believer in better to teach you how to fish than just to feed a fish. However, with the evergreen content package that I put together, think it can help you. Why? Because the concept is simple. It's a matter of mindset shift in, you say that three times fast, in trying to stay connected with your existing base. Gathering new customers is awesome, sure, great, we all need more, right? But do we? As far as our focal point, think about this. The people who come and see you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, depending on what you do, those are your true fans and friends, and they're doing you well. Why not talk to them more? Like me talking to you right now. This is about connecting on this level, and that's where evergreen content comes in. Because wouldn't it be more interesting inside of the social platforms and feeds where people put content out to have things that have a little bit more weight and worth? And that's where evergreen content comes in, because tell more of your story, tell more of the why of what you do, Share the stories of the ones who are doing things with you, like, say, your customers and fans, because that's interesting. That's the human connection. And last night I had made a post in regards to just, I was pondering. Well, Alicia and Caitlin, they were out and they were doing stuff, and it was okay, but I was sitting here by myself and I was binge watching stuff on YouTube. And I got to thinking that I was thinking, and I was pondering different things. And a couple things, one being, what do you do to get out of the house these days? What's your reason? Because I know from, I remember life before 2020, where the streets always were buzzing a little bit until it got really late, and everybody went home and went night night. But then that changed, and now since then, there's not. It's so funny. It's like you can get almost like a movie. It's like once the sun goes down, it starts to thin out on the streets, and it doesn't take long before the streets are empty. And in the time of 2020 through say 2024, I was doing I'd embraced the gig economy as something to do as I was figuring out other things to do. I'm really glad I did too, because in doing DoorDash and Instacart there for a while, it was very interesting because I got the opportunity on the ground level to see the changes the society was going through, because we went through a lot by well, they put us on strike, right? But it was interesting because again, it's like I watched the streets and the stores thin out. I saw people's demeanors change in real time. And I'll say this one too, it's like when it comes to the talk of inflation, the inflation is so high now. No, it's been high. It hasn't adjusted down. It's like I remember, and you can ask Alicia about this one, but I remember when I was doing the Instacart thing back in 2021, and I would do a shop over at Aldi, and I would watch as the prices started bumping, 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 and then to where we are now. Now, here's the thing: we've been riding these prices for 4 years, five really, but four for sure. All right, and we're seeing 50 to 100% or more increases on everything at the grocery stores and all retail locations. So, and that was all amongst the talk of the supply chain being broken and this, that, and the other. Well, okay, the supply chain's broken. Then we go back into the rule of economics or law of economics that we were all taught as far as supply and demand. That supply could not keep up demand due to supply chain issues. Well, that's not an issue anymore. Okay. And now where they're talking about that we're seeing a decline. No, we're not. No, we're not. That's the thing. Get yourself educated if you're not familiar with this, because a lot of those talking points are the things that screw people up in how we think things work. Okay. If it wasn't, here we go, Jim. With the fiat currency and the way that works, it's not real money, right? They can print as much as they want, and they can charge you interest, which is money on money that technically doesn't exist, but you're responsible for it, right? But the money, what's it for? So, I mean, where does it come from? Hmm. They used to be called usury at one point, but we don't go there anymore. Anyway, I bring all that up as a matter of thinking. Let us think. Can we think? Yes, we should think. We should talk, and we should think, talk, and think. And again, watching it in real time, and then watching like as the at the fast food restaurants and all restaurants really, but definitely fast food. It was very blatant because one, they were so essential. Remember that? Essential. And the fast food restaurants were allowed to be essential where the mom and pops were not. They no, 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 close that joint down because, it'd be bad. But it wasn't. Anyway, uh but watching that, and then I watched the value menus go up and up and up, and then they don't really exist anymore. Myself, I don't, thankfully, I've got an extra carburetor in keeping me away from those places, because the only thing I got out of 22 the most was type 2. Wow, that was great. Right before everything completely broke, um, I had been diagnosed with type 2. And I really try hard to like keep maintain those blood sugar levels. And on the whole, I do okay. Sometimes I don't, and it shows. But and I don't do the medications, the prescription stuff. I don't like it. I tried it and like, nah, you know what? The day will come when I will take the great spirit walk onto Valhalla. It'll be what it is. But I'm not saying you shouldn't. Don't ever take medical advice from anybody on the internet. Don't do it because I'm not giving it to you. I'm just saying what I'm doing. Um, but again, the prices have gotten so ridiculously high. I mean, they're absurd. Seriously, when you go look at what, I mean, think about it like this. I'm not going to tell you what to do with yourself one way or the other, but to go to like one of the fast food joints. Also, let me say this: I don't, I don't go swinging on the big box stores because, well, you can't. That's like they're part of the economy. There's all of the local folks work there, and that's where they get their money to spend with other folks too. So don't buy into that nonsense of in the big box. No, you can't. Ain't gonna happen because they're already competing with everyone's already competing with everything online. Amazon has wrapped that up, boy, I tell you, and a lot of other online retailers. But again, when we go into the the way the prices have increased and have not decreased, right? And they never will. They never will, ever, ever, ever. You'll see some fluctuations in like the commodity markets, like eggs. I still find it funny. I'll never forget this because it was just so boom and in your face. It was like, I remember that one point in 2021 that eggs, no, it might have been 2020, excuse me. But anyway, eggs had gotten so cheap that they were basically giving them away. Like at Aldi, I know the price of eggs went down to 39 cents a dozen. Do you remember that? I remember that. And that 39 cents a dozen. And then at some point along the way, we finally climbed up to where we were at $6 a dozen. Needless to say, that Easter, there weren't a whole lot of eggs died that year. Nope. So again, this conversation is all about just awareness of things. And we're not forgetting because a lot of things get so memory hold. And that drives me nuts. I guess probably because I pay too much attention, or I think I pay too much attention in the I just observe. It's just what I do, just by nature, by trait, and by trade. And I'm watching these things and seeing how people have forgotten things. And let's see here, got to give a little interactions there. Um, but it's just true. And I hate seeing people so divided by the boxes, by what's being said on them. When if you just step back, drop your label, look at something and assess it for yourself. This is what I was going back to when it came to like pondering last night. Because again, the first pondering that I had, which we've already talked about that, but the second one was like when it comes to all the talk of AI and with all the artificial intelligence. That's another one of those things I think where the words come in that they're misleading because the all of them that I've seen so far, and for a while I was playing with like all of them, trying to just keep up so I would know what was happening, like I really do know, but I want to understand. And having done so, the biggest takeaway I can take, number one, artificial intelligence. It's only artificial intelligence if you are giving any credit to it as being intelligent. And I don't mean just programming it, but I mean if you are saying it is intelligence, that's on you because it's not. It's just not. It's a very handy tool. Yes. And but who's programming the tool? You are. I am. I use it for specific set tasks, like having it build out, generate code that allows me to put together an aggregated list of headlines for the region. That's a tool. That's a tool that, yes, once was someone's job, mine. Um, but here's the kicker, kids. Those types of technological replacements have occurred since technology started because you want something to always get better and better and better and better. That's the goal. If it's not getting better and better and better and better, then it flatlines and you got what you got. So you've got to innovate along the way. It's just how it works. And again, that's one of those things that is perpetual, or it's a perception shift because you get caught up in the words. Again, here's a great book that's it's kind of a tough read because of the mindset at the time, but I do recommend at least do use Google or AI to kind of summarize the book for you. But the book is called Propaganda. Yeah, that word there, right? Uh, Authored by a man named Edward Bernays. Now, Edward Bernays is credited as the father of American propaganda. He's also the guy who came up with the term public relations. Words matter. Words matter. But inside of propaganda, his thing was is he was trying to take the word back because by the point that he in his time, I think this was in the 30s when he wrote propaganda. Um, that again, the word itself, propaganda, meaning to propagate an idea, right? But to propagate an idea, it doesn't specify which idea you're propagating, right? So its usage and then the way the word was labeled, propped up with it, is what led to the word propaganda being a negative, where in turn it could be a positive. However, depending on who is holding the propaganda key, now we use the term gaslighting as well. But whenever you're using that word, it automatically has a negative connotation. And he was trying to take that back all the way back then. But then again, he had pulled off some propaganda that shifted society in major ways, even if you think they're minor. For instance, his marketing company and agency, marketing agency, I guess I should say, they are the ones why you believe 100% that bacon and eggs are a staple of breakfast. A staple. This is what you eat in the morning. That's propaganda. That's how it all started. Just like any other marketing campaign that's come along and stood the test of time. Because if you think about the people who were advertising during the days of like World War II, such as like Coca-Cola and every other name that you're still familiar with of a brand that's over 100 years old, they used good propaganda. And again, I'm going off on that to show the purpose of being aware of words so the words can have little less impact on your thinking and make sure that it's your thinking and not someone else's that you've adopted as your own. Sure, we do build our own consensus opinions about things from that information because it's all you got. But if you think a little bit longer and broader, then you got to put up your own guardrails so you don't go crazy. But again, artificial intelligence. It's not intelligent. But I'm curious as to what's really happening in the world. I know where I've integrated it, which I've told you, in some of the daily doings that I've needed to do, and where it does come in handy. But in other things, it's just trash. I mean, it might be a novelty. Like I have not used effectively one of the AI video editing platforms. Now, the video editor I've used forever, Power Director from Cyberlink, which was awesome because I could put the thing on my phone and then voila, I had a full production studio on my phone. I could shoot and I could do multiple layers of video and text and audio and do the whole thing. I just had to learn how to use my thumb instead of a mouse and a big screen. But now that's got AI integrated into it. And I haven't really gave it a shot in what is supposed to be the AI editor in there. One, I enjoy editing. There's an art to it. It's like music, really. Whenever you're cutting something together, it just is. And I like composing that music. So, but what I've seen, it's okay at best. It's like mediocre at best, and it'll never have that heartbeat that comes from a human editor, right? And that applies to pretty much every other thing that a AI can do, except for what the computers can do better than humans, sort of. Like, okay, writing code, ones and zeros, right? It's going to do it better because it knows it's its terrain. It's like it couldn't swim, guarantee you. throw it into throw it into the Buffalo River and see what happens to it. It ain't gonna do as well as a fish or a human, I promise you. But again, I'm just curious how much it has actually been integrated. And the only way to know that is to ask you. You can look online and look at statistics and stories, but they don't really mean anything. Because unless someone like this is example purposes only, but say unless someone like Pace or someone like McDonald's or someone like Walmart, any of those service providers, goods and service providers have integrated it in a manner that has replaced a human being actually, real, actual replacement. And I haven't seen that, but I don't know. I'm not on the inside there. I don't know. But you might be. If you are, share. Which is another funny thing. I say Walmart and the integrated integration of technologies. Now I missed this when it happened, but Alicia did. That when I noticed it like a week and a half ago, And I said, "Look at this." And she went, "What?" And then she schooled me. Oh, yeah, it's already been there. What am I talking about? The Branson, uh, the Walmart on Branson Hills Express or Parkway, um, up there in Branson. But anyway, it was funny. I didn't notice that they had put the cash registers back in because that was one of the ones that integrated the whole self checkout like as the whole shebang for the longest time in the 2020 pandemic era, and you had the corral of the self checkouts, and it was gone, and it finally just popped out at me. I'm like, there are registers and there are humans taking money, and I found it funny. Why? Not that they wouldn't have kept doing the self-checkouts and having the we'll call them the security guards watching everybody check things out as they monitored you, and if you moved wrong, then they'd flag you and somebody have to come over and make sure that you really did scan that shirt you just put in the bag. That was the thing. Gosh, that was so annoying. But they've done away with it, right? Maybe just for now, maybe they moved the machines in the back, I don't know. But it was funny because why? I can only presume because again, I'm not inside of there, but it's because of shoplifting, I'm sure, because there's no way to monitor that constantly. Funniest one to watch in that big transition was Dollar General's. Remember how they slow rolled out, and I wouldn't say slow, it was a clunky rollout at like the Dollar General stores where they have their self checkouts. Well, that last a month. Now they've all got them, but they never use them because they were having too many issues with shoplifting. That much I do know just from on the ground watching and talking to people. And it's Dollar General's own fault in that regard because I'll say it for you guys, I'm standing with you. But they understaff those places, man. You'll wind up having one person working the whole damn shift, and that's a pretty good sized store with a lot of blind corners. And that's wrong, man. That's rough. I'm not going to say Dollar General workers unite because you're out of luck, but it's a shame. I mean, I don't know. I just I see a lot of folks working at Dollar General and they're just getting worked over. But I've seen they picked up some, like you'll see maybe 3 people working at some points. But man, when you've got to run the whole store, to watch it, to stock it, to run the register, come on. So that's not the AI that did that. That was greedy humans. And don't get me wrong, I'm not totally anti-corporate, but I'm also not totally pro it either. So anyway. What else is happening this Tuesday morning? Again, it is Veterans Day. I do have an offer. I told you I've got one product, right? My one product is my book, and I meant it for that. I really did. I wanted my book to be my product, more so than relying on advertising and sponsorship sales and all that, because that paradigm has shifted, kids. If you are in that business, good luck. I'll just tell you like it is. But what have I put together for you? I'll put it over here in the comments so you can check it out for yourself. This is fun because, again, as I had mentioned with Uncle Sam there, it's like the most patriotic collectible ever to me. And the quality is amazing. So let me do this here. There's the link for it. And let's go over here to the second screen. And I'm doing another little click. Trying to get more ergonomically comfortable with things. But anyway, this special I put together for Veterans Day, and it'll roll until they're gone. Um, but I got a handful of these in stock. You can get my book, Toys or Totems, as well as Uncle Sam right here. He'll be boxed for you. But this thing is fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. And again, it's already vintage. If that's your real hook to do something, this thing was released in 2002 by Be Natural Toys, founded by Charlie Flatt, who inside of this world of action figures did some amazing work. With very highly detailed with the cloth costumes and everything. Just fantastic. Great accessories with the flag. Got a extra set of hands, plus the hat, as you can see, comes off. But it's really cool. And there's also a little placard card tells you more about Uncle Sam as well as why it exists in the first place. But I've got that. Come here. There I am. But I've got that available right now for 40 bucks. You get the book and the figure shipped to you anywhere in the continental U.S., the contiguous states. If you want somewhere else, we can talk about it. Just shipping is nuts, and that's another thing I'm curious about when it comes to the tariff situation. I don't know at the moment how that's impacting people who are like the folks who are like independent sellers of things, or even if you're just like if you're a hobbyist and you're selling things from point A to point B, just person to person. That's it. That's what I was looking for. how much that's hitting. I got a friend of mine across the pond that he always had issues with, like having to pay certain taxes and fees and everything when he would receive something. I don't know what the status is of that now. I need to look into it, I guess. So anyway, but yeah, but that's available, and you can get it through the link there. And if you go to my personal website, thejimBumgardner.com, click on the shop, it'll take you there, and you can get the book and the figure, or just the book, or just the figure. You can do that. But yeah, it'll be fun. Have some fun with it, and I just really like it. And again, it's like it's kind of cool having that in a world that we've evolved into, where to be proud of your country is so demonized now, which makes no sense to me. Because my fellow Americans, again, drop your label and think about it. If you didn't live here, you'd have less of an opportunity to complain about living here. That doesn't work out so well for folks in other countries. And there's nothing wrong with what your heritage is. And we're Americans. We have a heritage based that kicks off in 1776, and that spirit that came from that. That's why people are willing to, to live and die for that. And that's what Veterans Day is all about. So hold on to that. Don't be ashamed of it. That's dumb. It really is. If you don't like something, you can work to change it by way of what we hope is, like, our representative government on the different levels from local, state to national. Keep working at it, because what's the alternative? I don't like the sound of any of them. I sure don't. I like what we got, and so we'll keep it that way. Let's see. Make sure I'm keeping up over in the comment section here. And there's all that. Okay, cool. So we are looking at 8:35 on the clock on the wall. That's a pretty good morning, I'd say. And again, I'll be out and about working on some stuff. Again, the virtual stump is, I'm loving the response. I've got a Facebook. Let me put that Facebook group up there. If you have not caught wind to it, because again, it's always hard to find out about things these days. And so let me get that link to you in the comments. Now, what's going to happen at the virtual stump on the Facebook land is, this is where I will be compiling all of the shout out videos. I'll pull it up over here. But with the virtual stump, like I say, I'm going to be compiling all the candidates as I get them. If you want to, if you don't want to participate, you do not have to. But it's all. This is a public service announcement by AMP Multimedia. Okay, there's no pay to play in this thing at all. I just want to know the three questions, and what, once again, are those three questions: who you are, what office you're running for, and why we should vote for you. Very simple. Your campaign's got to do the rest. I do have options for campaigns in some services that I can provide, and I've done that in the past. And you could talk to the people who are in serving right now, because most of those folks I worked with and helped them. They got themselves elected. I just helped them get their message out, and so I'm bringing some of that back. But again, if there's the link in the Facebook comments on this episode, this edition of the episode, the podcast, and the virtual stump. But that's what it really looks like, just so you're not confused with anything else that gets thrown out there. And it'll be populated with the videos of the people who are going to be saying, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I would appreciate your vote. And there you go. I'm also going to build another outreach for it on the 72601life.com website, to where I've got a dedicated page that I'll build those out. Because again, it's all about, I just, in the role of broadcaster forever, it's like, for me, it's been a matter of making it easier to do things for you. That's what you tune in. Well, you would tune into the radio to find out about the weather, because the guy at the radio station had better access to the weather information where you didn't. But now everybody's got the phones and so on. Storm Track 360 still does a better job, truthfully, in the moments that matter most. But I don't know. There's something about that. That's why I do what I do in a lot of ways. I like to find the best way to put things together collectively to then hand to you, packaged up nice and neat, so it makes it for ease of use. Now, there's supposed to be like compensation involved in that duty, I guess. Well, actually, really, I mean, it's work. But at the same time, it's just, boy, it's one of those things that's like, it's more than that to me. That's why I do it. That's why I keep doing it. I just do that. I can't not do it. It's like, it would be like not having coffee in the morning. I wouldn't be right until I did it. There you go. So I want to make things easier and better for all of us as best as I can, and encouraging you to hopefully do the same in whatever it is you do. because everyone's role is important, period. Like last night, I did a screenshot from over at X that William Shatner, yes, that William Shatner had tweeted out, or whatever you call it now whenever you do things. And I just liked it because I love his sass. Let me switch over to this. I mean, I really dug this in response to this person saying, too expensive, overpriced. And I loved his response. Sweetheart, I'm expensive, but I'm never overpriced. I love that. I do. Because that's true, man. Never forget, it's like whatever you charge, you're worth it, right? Do it. You're not overpriced. You're worth it. That's a nice little mental bump for you, reframing things. If people don't like what you charge, that's their problem, not yours. Don't forget that. Don't do it. You ain't overpriced. You're worth it. So that's it. It is now 8:40 a.m. Once again, Tuesday, November the 11th, 2025, on Veterans Day here in the Ozarks and all around the great United States of America. Celebrate a veteran, thank them if you see them, and think about what it truly means. You know, truthfully. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Let me find this end screen thingy, because that way, while everything is shutting down, you can take a cue from the text on the screen, because it'd be appreciated a lot as we continue to meet up every morning at 8 o'clock just to say, hey, what's up? There you go. Living my best 72601 life, and I hope you will do the same no matter where you are. Good night, everybody. Wait, it's morning. Jesus Christ.